Alright, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is Richie and this is going to be the continuation from my previous video about the Apple iPhone 13 mini. So this video is going to be part 2 of my kind of overall thoughts slash mediocre review, and I'm going to be going into what I don't like about the phone and what I do like, and actually breaking it down, talking about the quirks of ownership and what it's really like to live with an iPhone 13 mini. Now, I probably need to move my camera down, bear with me one sec, because this phone is so small. It's so cute. It's a lovable iPhone, as it's a lovable phone in general, as I said in my previous video. If you haven't watched that, link in the description below, or if I remember, it'll be up on the top right, so check that out before and then come back to this one. I know it's going to be a bit long. I'll have timestamps, which I didn't mention in the previous video. I'll have timestamps down below as well, so you can kind of skip ahead and jump to a bit of the review which you want to hear about. Maybe it's relevant to you, but yeah, anyways, let's talk about the iPhone 13 mini. Now, obviously, we're going to have to start off with some disclaimers because I know there are going to be people that are going to be coming for me in the comments if I don't say these things. So first of all, this is not a professional review. I'm an average consumer. I bought all these products with my own money, but I'm just going to be giving you guys my thoughts. Again, not a professional reviewer. I'm going to be talking to you guys as if I were talking to a friend about this phone and giving you guys my overall thoughts and opinions. I am an Apple user. I am an Apple fanboy. I'm not even hiding it. Been called out before saying like, oh, you're clearly an Apple fanboy. You're clearly, but yes, I am. I am biased. I'm a little bit biased. So take this review with a grain of salt. This has a slight Apple bias to it. So there you go. It's out there. I don't claim to hide my fondness for Apple. Like, I love them as a company, but if they do something stupid, I'm gonna call them out on it. But for the most part, yeah, if they do something good, I'm gonna praise it. But yeah, I do use Apple products. I have been using Apple products for the past 15, 16 years. So yeah, again, take that for what you will. Last disclaimer is that this review slash thoughts, this video is going to be structured in a very similar way to that of Flossy Carter, Dank Pods, or Zolotech, if you watch those guys, where basically it's a camera pointing at the thing that I'm talking about, and I'm just talking to the camera. I'm going to try and do it with minimum edits, but yeah, if you hear any anecdotes or references from those guys, then that's just me. That's my influence. I watch those guys. Those guys influence the way that I talk about tech and the way that I make my videos, so I'm going to have them linked down in the description below. Not because they need any exposure from me, but because it's kind of like a reference list, kind of like a sign of respect to say like, hey, look, I'm not straight up copying these guys, but this is where I get my inspiration from for my videos. So I think those are all the disclaimers that I have. And again, this might be another long video, so sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, grab your preferred drink, preferably alcoholic. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, alright, let's get into it. Let's get into the iPhone 13 mini. Oh god, I'm gonna be confusing. So forgive me if I get mumbled up with the iPhone names and all that. They're getting a bit ridiculous these days, but let's try and push through. Now, TLDR, like I said in the previous video, I love this phone so much. It's nice and small and compact. It's mind-blowing how awesome this phone is and how powerful it is and how capable it is in such a small form factor. I've really loved my experience with it. Now, let me get a wipe down for the dramatic effect. Boom. Got that midnight color on deck. It looks sweet. Right, okay, let's go ahead and get started with the review, starting with the things that I don't like, and this is probably going to be the bit where the Apple fanboys are going to want to turn off or skip to the next portion of the video. Samsung, Knights, Android people, you're going to love this because I'm going to be bashing Apple. Right, let's get started. First thing I don't like, the notch. The notch it's a thing. Now, I've got this dark wallpaper so I don't see it, but when you open up something wide, it is there. It is not hiding at all. Now, I've gotten used to it, I must admit. When I first got the phone, it looked a little bit funny, especially because I was used to the wider notch of the 12 series phones. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but it is just a little bit annoying. But where it's most annoying is when you're watching videos. Now, shout out to Luke Miani and Jacqueline from Nothing But Tech. But I've got a couple of their tweets bookmarked here just to show you guys what I'm on about. And basically, like, this was on kind of day, the first week or so. Instagram was a bit bugging, and just didn't know how to deal with the new notch, so add that to the list of the things that I don't like. Day one optimization, not very good. And then this is, I think this is the 13 or the 13 Pro, but you can see that the notch, because it is deeper than that of the previous iPhone series, it actually cuts into videos. And if I pull up a YouTube video, this is going to be, this is Marquez's review of the Rivian. You can see that the notch does actually cut into the video, which is extremely frustrating. Now, I don't normally watch videos on this phone, but when I do, it is just really annoying. And you can zoom in like that, but then the notch kind of intrudes on your content. Now, it's okay for standard 16:9 content, so this is jerry-rig, and as you can see, no problems there. It is just a little bit funny that there's a bigger gap. There's a bigger letterbox. No, the letterbox is, there's bigger sidebars. They're not symmetrical. Now it's something minor, but I thought I'd point it out just for detail's sake, I suppose. So I think Apple, we got to be done with the notch. Like, surely next year it's gonna be disappearing. Let's forget about the notch. It had a good run. Surely they found a way to integrate all of the sensors and stuff under the display, or like, I don't know, just make it more streamlined, or like have it like just a little like cutout, like a long black bar, not a long one, but like, you know what I'm talking about. Like, you've seen the renders. Like, it's just time for the notch to disappear. It's had a good run, and we're getting sick and tired of it. Now, linking back to the issues that you saw there with Instagram, as Luke Miani pointed out, day one optimization issues was a bit annoying. So the first one was the Instagram was a bit buggy. Some apps didn't know how to deal with the notch. It is actually fixed now. A lot of the problems are sorted out with software updates. The biggest issue though was unlock with Apple Watch, where it didn't work for about a week, and that was one of the most frustrating things that I had to deal with. And it's a major first world problem, and it's very petty, but I just having that feature on my previous iPhone and not being able to enable it on the new phone because of some sort of stupid software bug really irritated me, because I had to put in my passcode every time I wanted to unlock the phone when I'm at the gym or when I'm at work, where I have to wear the mask. I don't like that. I don't know if it was like an oversight on Apple's part, where they just, I don't know, they didn't test the feature before releasing the phone, or they just, something went wrong, and it was less than ideal experience for a lot of customers, including myself. Not secondly, actually, this is the third point. The phone is a fingerprint magnet, especially on the back. Now, obviously, this is not a Pro phone, so you get the shiny gloss back, and this is not, it's actually a good thing, because MagSafe accessories stick on better to this than to the shiny back, or not the shiny back, but the matte back of the Pro series. So it's got that going for it, but again, just fingerprints galore. Is this the biggest deal in the world? No. I've already got a D-brand skin, but I haven't put it on just because I wanted to show you guys for the video. But I got Black Swarm, and I'm going to be using that on this phone. It just collects a lot of fingerprints. Now, I've seen a few tweets on Twitter. I think Sam Sheffer tweeted out saying that he said his 13 series phones have been picking up less fingerprints, and I don't know if I agree with that, if I'm going to be honest. Mine pick up fingerprints like, man, maybe I just got dirty fingers. But I will say they're easy to wipe off, but the phones are still fingerprint magnets regardless. Not the biggest deal in the world. Put a skin on it, put a case on it. I have my everyday case, which is a Spigen. I forget the name. I think it's the Liquid Air, which is a really cool case. It's got a really nice texture, fits really well, gives you extra grip on the device, and boom, look, no fingerprints. And I love the matte camera surround, unlike this one where it was shiny and would collect dust. This was a lot better. So there's pros and cons to both build qualities, both finishes, but I feel like the 13s are easier to manage, because you can just get the skin on the back, and that kind of solves a lot of the issues. And I also got the leather case as well in green, and Sequoia green to be exact, and it is absolutely beautiful. It does not look this good in the pictures on the Apple Store, which I was a bit hesitant, but yeah, this leather case is sweet. I love it. What I will say, what this finish has going for it is the matte aluminium side rails. They're much easier to maintain than the shiny stainless steel. Now the stainless steel, it feels better, it feels heavier, it feels more premium, but this feels solid also. Like it's very well built. And I'll go on to that when I talk about the things that I do like about the phone, but this is easier to maintain than the shiny stainless steel. Okay, next thing I don't like, color choices. I'm gonna admit, I think Apple dropped the ball on the color choices this year. There's no green, which I love the green. I loved the green last year. I got the green 12 mini last year, and it was one of my favorite colors. I kind of wish that I held on to that phone, but I don't know. You gotta let things go sometimes, but I don't like the color choices this year. You have this midnight, you have blue, you have red, you have white starlight, and then you have pink. Now, pink, that's awesome for the ladies. Like, you know, that's a really cool color, and I wish I was brave enough to rock a pink phone. The red is really shiny this year. It's a lot more vibrant than that of the 12 series. But this midnight color, I don't know, it's okay. Like, it is somewhat interesting because it's got a bit of a blue tint to it, and it looks different in certain lights. So I definitely don't mind that, but why couldn't they have added a green or something a bit more exciting? Or, you know, I don't, yeah, it's really petty. This is extremely petty, but I'm just not impressed with the color choices this year. And as well with the Pro phones, like, I like the blue, what's it called? I can't even remember what it's called. Sierra Blue, that's the one. It's a gorgeous color. Don't think I could rock it. It looks kind of like a bluey gray, but I wish they did like let me see if I can pull up this Instagram post of this green that someone had rendered out here. Okay. This was back when they thought it was going to be called the 12S, but if they did it in this green, I'd have copped it straight away. This green looks maybe they might do it in the future, but who knows. I just feel like they dropped the ball on the color choices. Yeah, it's extremely petty. As I said, you can get a case, you can get a skin to deal with all that, but you know, you're spending a lot of money on a phone, so the least they could do is give you a color that you like. Alright, so those are kind of the petty things out of the way. Let's go through some quick-fire hardware things. Alright, so first of all, no Touch ID. In this world of Corona and masks, it would have been really handy to have Touch ID, even if it was on the side like they've done with the iPad Air and the iPad Mini, or if it was under the screen and did a little bit of innovation and made Touch ID. And I'm sure Apple, if they did in-screen Touch ID, it'd just be miles better than what's on Android. But they didn't do it. They're stuck with Face ID, which is, I love Face ID, but it's just useless when you're wearing a mask, and if you don't have an Apple Watch, it's even worse because you have to punch in your passcode and go through that whole faff of, you know, doing the dance with the swipe up and then waiting for it and then doing the passcode. I mean, they've optimized it so that when you are wearing a mask, it does pull up the passcode screen faster, but still, it's just really annoying. No USB-C, we're stuck with Lightning for another year, and we're probably gonna lose the port eventually. USB-C, like, they've got it on the MacBooks, they've got it on the iPads, but why are they sticking with it on the iPhones? I don't know, maybe there's just too many Lightning accessories, or maybe they're just holding out to where they can get rid of the port. But that would have been nice for some quicker file transfers or some just more compatible charging. You don't need to carry around 2 cables and all that. Would have been handy. No charger in the box. Now, this one is still polarizing for some reason. I would think that most people would be of the mindset that if you're paying $1,000, $2,000 for a phone, that you'd want it to come with a charger in the box. Now, again, this is the iPhone box. It's very sleek, very thin. I like how they've done away with the plastic. At least they're doing something for the environment. But you open it, you get your lightning cable, you get your little piece of paper that comes on the display, you get your books and your little Apple sticker. Where is my troll sticker? Yeah, it's there. And your SIM ejection tool, but there's no charger in the box. And now, I know Apple pioneered all this and they're citing their environmental things and all that, but it's just the phone's compatible with fast charging, but they don't give you the brick in the box. You have to buy that separately. Now, is that the biggest deal in the world? Kind of, not really. I've already got chargers and all that, but it's just, it would be nice of them to include the charger in the box so you don't have an extra thing that you need to buy. It just works out of the box. You know, it's just one of those things. I don't even want to go into a whole rant about it, and if you want to see my rant about it, you can watch my fold video, but I just can't believe that people are saying, like, you know, get over it. But I know Apple pioneered, I know that, and I know that these companies are following their footsteps, but it's just, frustrating. Unfortunately, with Apple, I don't see it changing, but I feel like with Samsung and all these other brands, like they do actually listen to their customers when it comes to these kinds of petty things. So maybe if they change their ways, then Apple might reconsider, but who knows, honestly. When they lose the port, we're going to lose the cable. I mean, I don't know if they're going to be generous enough to give you a MagSafe charger in the box, but who knows. Petty gripe, no charger in the box, I don't like that. Now, kind of another petty one is that because of the small form factor, the phone does actually heat up more often than a regular phone would. And again, is that the biggest deal in the world? No, I suppose if you're playing games on it, or if you're doing some sort of intensive thing, recording video, or I don't know what intensive thing you'd be doing on a mini, but it gets hot, might get uncomfortable. Not the coolest thing in the world. Didn't mean to do that pun there. Yeah, it's one of those things. I can deal with it. It's just it just gets a little bit uncomfortable sometimes, especially if you have like the MagSafe battery. If you're wirelessly charging the phone, it does tend to warm up a little bit. So yeah, keep that in mind if you're considering this phone. No ProMotion. Again, iOS is smooth enough, and honestly, I don't really notice a massive difference between this and my Fold 3. But it would have been nice, like, not even ProMotion, just like standard motion, or like, advanced motion where they did like a 90 hertz adaptive display. Because the adaptive display is that could add a decent amount of battery to this phone. Like, if it can ramp down from 10 hertz to, say, 90 hertz. Like, give us the 90 hertz. Like, yeah, save the 120 for the Pro iPhones. That makes sense. But, throw a bone to us peasants and give us a couple more features. No always on display as well. Like, they've got the OLED and they've got the LTPO technology that they can incorporate from the Apple Watch to enable the always on display, but they don't. Again, petty. iPhone's never had it. It's awesome on my Samsung phones, but at least like you can just tap the screen and it wakes up. But always on display would have been cool. Software features that I don't like, typical iOS constraints. So this is basically the only software gripes, because I believe that iOS is actually pretty well optimized, and just like overall when you're doing smartphone things, iOS is brilliant. But you don't have multitasking, you don't have split screen multitasking, which was obviously going to be a lot more handy on the bigger phones, not so much on the mini. There's no readable mass storage. The file system's a bit weird on this one. It's gotten better, but it's just you can't plug it into an Android. Like, you can't plug it into a PC and drag over some video files like you could with an Android phone. And the reliance on the ecosystem, and it's something that I love to hate to love, because I've got everything Apple. I've got my MacBook, I've got my HomePods, I've got my AirPods, I've got my iPhones, I've got my Apple Watch, iPad. Everything's just Apple. I've got AirTags, and yeah, it's just I'm in this walled garden that I definitely cannot escape because of the affordances that the way that these devices talk to each other, and software features like iMessage, FaceTime, iCloud, continuity, just all these little things that make my life a little bit easier, but that comes at the cost that I have to buy all the Apple products to take advantage of it. It's just one of those things where, I obviously can escape, but it's gonna just be a bit of an inconvenience too. And again, another first world problem. But yeah, it sucks that it's so well integrated that you can't break free out of it, if that makes sense. Okay, now the last main thing that I don't like about the iPhones in general and the 13 series is there's no overall innovation. Like, yeah, there's cinematic mode, there's ProMotion, which Android phones have had for years. There's, the cameras are actually really good on these, and overall, the iPhone is the phone that is best at being a smartphone. But this, if you want to see what innovation is, this is innovation. And I'm taking this one out of Flossie Carter's book. This is innovation. You can unfold your screen. You can use an S Pen on it. You can open up split screen apps. Now, this in and of itself is not innovation, but it is an awesome feature, right? Innovation. Take a bit of a leap of faith, like Samsung. Like, if Apple came out with a foldable phone, or like just something new, they would have so many sales, because mindless, brainless Apple sheep fanboys will just go flock to buy it. But I think Apple has just become a bit risk averse. compared to the Steve Jobs days, and now I'm not going to try and compare Apple and say like, oh, Steve Jobs would have thought this about modern day Apple. Well, I think Apple is a brilliant company in and of itself. They do so many things well, but I just feel like they could have done a bit more innovating. I mean, the best thing that Apple has innovated is like the M1 chips for their Macs. And I can't hate on that because they actually blow the competition out of the water. But I wish for their mobile tech with their iPhones or with the Apple Watch or something, they could just do something new. And I know like there's talk of like Apple Glasses or Apple VR coming out. I just feel like they could have done something to make these iPhones more exciting. That being said, they can't put out a banger every year, and this is like a solid upgrade from, solid improvements from the previous model. But hopefully for the 14, they do something more grand, more exciting, something that gets us hyped about the iPhones. Like with the 12, like this wasn't particularly innovative, but the new design was cool, and like, having the sensor shift image stabilization and, the better displays and that kind of thing, that was sick. But for this, it's just not enough to be excited about. And they're like, no one's talking about the 13s anymore, except for me, because I always do my videos late. But yeah, it's again, this is like, all these gripes are somewhat petty, but Apple will just continue to be Apple, doing Apple things because they're the most valuable company in the world, and they know what's best for them, so I'll just leave them to it. But as a consumer, as someone, if I had a say in it, I feel like they've got something behind the curtains that they can unveil and just wow us all, but maybe they're just waiting to perfect it. Who knows? Now, I was going to talk about the price, but I feel like for the 13 mini, it's actually somewhat reasonable. I paid $14.49 for this one, which is $256. I've yet to buy AppleCare. I think I might. I don't know. Because the screen repair is somewhat reasonable on these devices. It's like $300, so I'm afraid I think I might have to take a bit of a gamble and see if I can go without AppleCare on this one. I bought AppleCare for my 12 Pro Max because that was a $2,000 phone. But the price, I can't hate on it too much. Like, for a reasonable phone, like this is actually, this is probably towards the margins of what I would pay for a good smartphone, especially like for the 13 series. Like that is a pretty decent phone for its price. Now, when you get into 13 Pro and 13 Pro Max levels of pricing, yeah, that gets a bit TGH, and really, like, you can get the same thing, essentially the same phone for almost $1,000 less. So the prices on the Pro models, TGH, paying again, carrying on from my Fold 3 video, I always have a bit of trouble paying over $2,000 for a phone. I did it for my 12 Pro Max, and I actually don't regret it. And if you were to spend $2,000 on a phone, those are the phones you get: Fold 3, S21 Ultra, 13 Pro, 13 Pro Max. But just can't help but say that it is a bit TGH. Okay, so those are all my don't likes, and I'm almost out of breath from ranting for almost half an hour. So hopefully you guys are sticking in. If you are enjoying the content so far, leave a like, hit the subscribe button. I know a lot of you guys are watching without subscribing, so it would mean a lot if you did hit that subscribe button. But we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to go and get into some things that I do like about this phone, because as I said, I love this phone, and I have been really enjoying my time with it as a daily driver. So be back in a sec, and let's get into some things that we do like. Alrighty, one sip of water and one wipe down later, we're back in. So let's get into some things that I do like about the iPhone 13 mini. And the first one is, again, something to do with the price. Because actually, I got it wrong. I paid $14.29 for this, for the 256. Somewhat justifiable. As I said, not a bad price to pay for the features that you're getting. And the good thing is, if you are spending $1,000, $2,000 on an Apple device, is they hold their value, unlike their Android counterparts. If you watch my Fold 3 video, I told you I sold a Note 9, which retailed for almost $2,000 for $880. I sold an iPhone 10 at the time for $900, when that retailed for $1,799, and I bought that. I didn't. How much did I sell it for? I feel like I sold it for more than $900. I think I sold it for $1,100. I think I made some money off of that, but then I broke that phone and I had to get it repaired, so that was a kind of faff in and of itself. But bottom line is, iPhones hold their value a lot better than the their Android counterparts and compared to the Galaxy. So if you're gonna spend $2,000 on a phone, you can rest assured that if you do go to sell it in the future, and like my plans with this is to kind of keep this around as some sort of a backup, a way to beta test iOS, and in case something does go wrong with my 13 mini, I can always resort to the 12 Pro Max. But I probably am thinking about selling this maybe about 2 months before the new iPhones come out in preparation for the 14. And I still think I can get a decent amount back. So I paid $2,299 for that, plus Apple Care, $2,400. Probably could get maybe $1,600, which is okay. Like, obviously I'm taking a bit of a depreciation hit, as you do with any kind of technology, but it's negligible compared to selling an equivalent Samsung phone. Say if it was like an S21 Ultra, if I bought that for $2,299, I'd probably only get $1,000 for it. So there you go. Next thing. Now, this is kind of like an overall thing. That Apple does the 5 pillars of a smartphone very well. They make the most consistent. They make the fastest and the most well-rounded phones on the market. They last long as well with updates and support beyond even useful life. This is an iPhone 6s, and it's running the latest iOS 15. How crazy is that? And it runs reasonably smooth. Like, yeah, it does lag a little bit, and but the fact that this phone came out in 2015, let's say. It's been supported for about 6 to 7 years, and that's crazy. And the fact that the phones are getting more powerful and more efficient just means that they're going to last longer, and that Apple can support them for longer. That is awesome. Like, that again, that can't be said for Android counterparts, where you only get software updates for 2 to 3 years. Like, my dad has an Oppo AX5s, which he uses for work, and that's stuck on Android 8 Oreo, which is like, I don't know, 4 versions behind what the latest is. Now, I mean, it's not really fair because that's a $300 phone, but still, like my S10 that I have is probably going to be stuck on Android 11, not getting the upgrade to 12, and that's 3 years of support, and it's basically, it's still usable, but it's just, you don't get the latest features, you don't get the latest software. Something that can't be said for iPhones. Next, build quality and form factor. This phone is built very well. It's solid feeling. Even though it is a small iPhone, it feels built like it's the weight matches the size of the phone, and having ceramic shield and water resistance. Like, this is my 12 Pro Max, which I showed in the last video. No scratches. This phone has held up incredibly well, and yeah, just having that ceramic shield and water resistance just gives you a lot more peace of mind. Like, no phone is going to be indestructible, but there's ways to mitigate it. And if you're treat it like a regular phone, if you don't go crazy with it, then it's gonna last a long time. If you're buying the phone for the form factor also, like for the mini form factor, it's great if you're an active person, and if you're looking to spend a little bit less time on your phone, which I'm kind of, yeah, that's something that I want to do, because mine, what is it called, doom scrolling, it's just not healthy for you. So this phone is great if you live an active lifestyle, if you go to the gym, you go on a lot of walks, if you take hikes, if you are at work and you need a phone to fit in the front pocket, or if you're a nurse with scrubs, the phone doesn't flop around. It's more manageable than a phone of a larger form factor. And the fact that you can choose form factors as well. You can choose the smallest one, or you can choose, if you want something a little bit bigger, you've got the 6.1 inch, which most people, I think that is the best form factor for most people. And if you want the big boy, you've got the 13 Pro Max or the 12 Pro Max with the massive 6.7 inch display, which is absolutely gorgeous. The display is brilliant. It looks great. It's vibrant. They have improved the color calibration slightly, because with the 12 series in general, it was a bit warm, and I don't know, a lot of people don't like that. I don't mind. I think the colors are brilliant, and yeah, it just looks great. I have no faults at all with this display. It's nice and bright, nice and smooth. It matches the spec of the 12 Pro from last year, which is like 800 nits of brightness is really good, especially in broad daylight. Bar the notch, it's great to look at. And I think the way Apple manages like text on the smaller form factor and the UI elements and stuff is great. Also for, I'll actually go and talk about that in the software portion of the video, but using the small screen in the small form factor with iOS is an awesome experience. Like it's that good that I can go between big phones and this little phone with ease. And that was something that really blew me away last year with the 12 mini. Like I thought I'd use it and I'd be like, oh, this is weird going between the Max and the Mini. But honestly, it's both of the phones operate in vastly the similar way. Like yes, you do notice that things are bigger on the Max devices, but it's not a big jump or not a big deal to go between them, at least in my opinion. Now granted, the small form factor is not going to be good for content consumption, as you saw with the notch that cuts into 18:9 content, and like just the screen not being big. Picture in picture kind of sucks because of the small display, but that's where things like the Fold come in, or if you have like an iPad or a laptop, then you just use that instead. But I mean, watching YouTube videos on this I wouldn't say it's not enjoyable, it's just not optimized, and it's just not as nice as it were on a larger phone or a larger display. Now, let's talk about the battery. Battery, as I said in my previous video, is good. It lasts me through the day. I don't have any problems with it. Now, granted, like my days are not very typical of like, you know, unplugging from the charger and then using it all day and then coming home and then putting it on the charger. Like, if I go into my battery usage, and if you watch like battery tests, like a lot of my usage is actually screen off time because I use it to listen to music most of the time. Now you can see today I last charged the phone to 90% and I took it off the MagSafe battery at 9 o'clock this morning, and I've been to the gym basically using it for phone calls and music and a little bit of YouTube. I have almost 6 hours of usage. That is 2 hours of screen on time. It's about 50%, which is reasonable. Like you can easily get 4 to 5 hours of screen on time, and if you're pushing it even further, you probably get 6 to 7 hours. And then pair it up with the MagSafe battery, very satisfying. It fits the form factor perfectly, and it's awesome to hold like this. Like it feels so natural. This is a winning combination. Now, side note, it does actually get warm if you're using the phone while it is on the MagSafe battery, so that is something that I would caution. So if you've got it in a pocket, it actually does tend to warm up, especially if it's charging the iPhone, so just be wary of that. But this, you know, traveling, I feel like I would be able to get through a whole day's worth of travel if I charge both of these, the MagSafe battery and the iPhone, to 100%, and I'd probably arrive to my destination with charge to spare. If I'm going to Australia or something. Yeah, I'm satisfied with the battery life, especially for the form factor. It's definitely better than the 12 mini, so yeah, no problems at all. And if you're buying this phone, you definitely know what you're getting into in terms of battery and the screen size and all the rest of that. The other thing that makes the battery life so good is the efficiency of the chip, of the A15 Bionic. Like the battery management on iOS is just so vastly superior to that of Android. Prove me wrong. Like, you know, you have the Snapdragon 888, which is a very powerful chip, but it's not as efficient as the iPhone. Now, Android phones have massive batteries, and that's what enables them to have good on par with the iPhones. But look at the 13 Pro Mini. It's got not 13 Pro Mini. I wish that phone existed. That would be cool. The 13 Pro Max. That phone is ridiculous. Like over 10 hours of screen on time. And the battery is like 1,000 milliamp hours less than that of the S21 Ultra and of the Mi 11 Ultra and all these like heavy hitter phones. It's just crazy. Apple does a brilliant job with efficiency, battery management, and again, going to M1 and talking about the MacBook Pros because they're relevant. I love that Apple focuses on that. Right, let's talk about the camera. Now, I love this camera. iPhone cameras are my favorite little cameras, pocketable cameras in the world. I mean, yeah, I just prefer these over Android cameras because I love the fact that they're so simple to use. You can just point it at a subject, you can tap record, you click the shutter, and you get a really nice video or photo. I love the iPhones for video. I think Android phones are getting good. Believe me, like they are starting to give Apple a run for their money, but I still think iPhones are superior when it comes to video. I've recorded 3, 4, 5 concerts with the iPhone 12 Pro Max with the sensor shift image stabilization, and honestly the footage looks so good in 4K Dolby Vision. Now you've got cinematic mode. Like, I'll put up some kind of camera thing. So this is me at Oriental Bay, just kind of snapping around with the pictures, and you can kind of judge for yourself and see how it stacks up to another phone. I don't really have anything to compare it to, maybe the 12 Pro Max, but I'll just put up some pictures and some video examples so you can kind of get a sense of what the 13 mini camera is capable of. One of my main uses is just to take dumb Snapchat videos to my friends, or like if there's something quick that I want to take a picture of, or I see a nice view. This is a brilliant camera to capture everything on, and for recording concerts and videos, especially when I can go travel, hopefully soon, I think this is going to be a brilliant camera, and it's the form factor is just unbeatable. Overall, a great camera, great performer. It doesn't have the most features in the world, and it's not the highest megapixel count. If you want the best photo cameras, you're probably looking to something like an S21 Ultra or Mi 11 Ultra or a Pixel 6 Pro. But again, overall and for video, I think the iPhones are brilliant. And lastly, let's talk about the software. Let's talk about iOS, because I think iOS is the most consistent, the smoothest mobile operating system there is, and that's why I have iPhones as my daily drivers, because iPhones are reliable in that respect, that, you know, iOS is smooth, all the apps are optimized, and it just works really great. It's got really powerful machine learning capabilities. It knows what I want to do. Like, this is my Siri suggestions. The widgets are nice and information rich. You know, I know Android has had widgets for you know, since its inception, but, you know, Apple took their time and they're doing it a little bit better. I'm not gonna lie. And other things like that come from the small form factor, like typing on a keyboard, it is just so much better at detecting typing accuracy. And, like, you know, even if you have big, you know, meaty fingers, that sounds a bit funny. If you have fat fingeritis, you'll be able to type on a 12 mini with relative accuracy, or a 13 mini, sorry, any mini phone. You'll be able to type on it with relative accuracy. Now, the same cannot be said for the Galaxy Photo, especially when it's in the cover display mode, and it's actually the same width as the iPhone 12 mini. This keyboard sucks. I wouldn't even try typing out a message, or, you know, getting into a keyboard warrior argument on the cover display phone on this. And it's just like the little things that make iOS just a more fluid experience. It's just more seamless. You have things like AirDrop and continuity, and with the clipboard, and just, yeah, it's, if you have an iPhone and you use it, you know what I'm talking about. iOS is just, it's magical, it's optimized, and it's brilliant. Now, obviously Android has its own quirks and the things that are better about it, and iOS has the things that are better about it. If you only had one phone, it's up to you to kind of choose what you value more. Do you want more features? Do you want more flexibility with your operating system? Or do you want something that's smooth and consistent, that can, you know, that has optimized apps and that is efficient? That's totally up to you. Now, for that reason, that's why I have both. That's why I rock the Fold, and that's why I rock an iPhone, is because I get the best of both worlds. If I want something done on iOS, then I can do it on iOS. And if I want, the bigger screen, and if I want to do split screen multitasking, and if I want the Android features, then I'll go to my Galaxy Fold. So yeah, let's kind of, I know people have their preferences, but let's not hate on people who choose one option over the other. Like, we're just having fun here. This is just phone reviews. Like, you're gonna make the best decision for you at the end of the day. Like, don't let anyone tell you that your decision is wrong because it works for you. Like, this combination works for me, and I prefer iOS, but I also like Android. And, people are going to come for me in the comments and say, like, oh, you're just a typical Apple fanboy. Like, yeah, I am, but I can respect Android and the extra features that it affords me. But I also, let's keep a reality check, and, iOS actually is a really good operating system as well. The Mini is probably perfect for someone like me who has a beast Android phone and wants an iOS device, whether it's a secondary phone, or if you've got an S21 Ultra, Mi 11 Ultra, Pixel 6 Pro, or an iPhone 12 Pro Max, 13 Pro Max, and you need a secondary phone, iPhone 13 mini. It's the truth. Yeah, it's such an awesome little phone that you definitely just can't go wrong with this device. Like, it is a brilliant little phone. And I've said that how many times? Take a shot every time I say that. Like the Fold, you do have to be committed to the form factor, especially if you're going to be using it as a main phone, as I am doing. So this is actually my main phone. It's got my main number in it. My Galaxy Fold is secondary to me because I don't want to lug this around when I go to do my everyday tasks. Like, this is just so much more convenient for me. Yeah, you've got to be committed to the smaller form factor, and it's not a lot of commitment, if I'm going to be honest. Like, it's not a lot of adjustment to get used to this. Especially, I mean, if you're used to small phones, like, this is going to be brilliant. But if you're downsizing, then that's something you're going to have to consider. Like, if you were only to have one phone, I would say it's either the 13 Pro or the 13 Pro Max. Just go for that if you're talking about iPhones, that is. But the 13 mini, if you are a person that doesn't use their phone a lot, or if you're looking to downsize, or if you obviously know what you're getting into if you're buying a 13 mini, because it is smaller. It doesn't give you the best battery life. It doesn't give you the biggest screen in the world. And that's exactly why you are buying this. Okay, this video is starting to get into a bit of a shambles now, but yeah, basically, this is a good device. And honestly, it's the most lovable iPhone. It's not the best iPhone, it's the most lovable iPhone, and it's a fan favorite. It's unfortunate that it's likely that there's going to be no 14 mini next year, so if you really want a mini phone, I think this is probably the best time to buy one. They just don't sell well enough, which is completely understandable. Like, most average people are happy with the form factor of the 13 and the 13 Pro, because those are like, they're not massive to where the phone's going to be flopping around in your pocket or and hard to manipulate, and it's not small enough to where you lose things like battery life and heat dissipation and screen real estate. But you know what you're getting into when you're getting the mini phone, and it's a brilliant little device that I can wholeheartedly recommend if it is something that you're looking into. I feel like I've almost lost my voice talking at this for almost an hour. Like, I'm recording the other video and this one back to back. So these are two parts of the iPhone 13 mini, and this is probably going to be my last iPhone video for a while, unless I do a follow-up or something. So let me know if you want to see that. But yeah, what are your thoughts? If you have a 13 mini, if you have a 12 mini, if you have any other iPhone, if you're thinking about getting a 13 mini or downsizing, what are your thoughts? What are your what's holding you back? Or if you're a believer in big phones or Android phones, let me know what your thoughts are too on the iPhone mini, because I think it's an incredible little device, and it's a shame that this might be the last one. That's pretty much all my thoughts about it. Again, overall, I love this phone, and I'm very glad that I've chosen it to be my daily driver. I don't really see myself going to a bigger iPhone. I love the big phones, don't get me wrong, but now that I've got the Fold, it's just, it seems a bit unnecessary for me. So yeah, if you've watched this far, God, I don't know. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the new viewers as well. Thank you so much for jumping along and joining me on my journey. If you liked it, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you're new, hit the subscribe button, and I'll hopefully be having some more tech content coming out. I don't really know what's next. I probably want to do a video about the new MacBook Pros because that is extremely relevant to me, and it's something that's been on my mind for the past, well, since it's been announced. Now, I'm not going to be getting one for a little while, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in that video, but I've got my 2019 16-inch, which I made a video on, I want to say, yeah, almost about a year and a bit. It's almost 2 years old now, and I thought I'd maybe do a follow-up on that and talk to you about the new M1 Pro and M1 Max chips. I might do a follow-up to the Z Fold 3 review because there are a lot of comments on that video that I thought I might address, and something that I might have forgotten to include in that video. So yeah, you might be seeing a follow-up of that, and I suppose one other thing that I got, Samsung sent me this in the mail the other day. It is a Galaxy Watch 4, and I actually have a replacement Apple Watch on the way, because I chatted in yesterday and I got them to send me an express replacement because this Apple Watch Series 5 is covered under Apple Care, and I'm experiencing some battery issues on it. So my repair videos actually seem to do really well, so I might do a video on that and talk to you guys about what it's been like with the Apple Watch Series 5 and why I'm not upgrading to the 7. I don't know, I'm just kind of spitballing here. So yeah, stay tuned. Lots more tech videos on the way, seeing as I can't travel. But yeah, thank you guys again for watching, for showing appreciation. Leave a comment below. I love to start conversations. I try and reply to every comment, unless you're just talking some mad shit. But yeah, I love to have conversations with you guys. So leave a comment below on what your thoughts are and what you're thinking about the 13 mini and what you want to see next from me. So that has been it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna give my voice a rest. So I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.